Hey guys, welcome to Porter Valley Ranch. It is Friday. It's time for our Friday farm feed, and I'm a little later getting this out than I would like to be, but I have been sick for the last day or two. I'm not sure what's going on. Some of our kids had like a respiratory thing going on, so not feeling great, but wanted to get this video out, show you all the animals, and hopefully we can still get it done. So we're down here with the sheep, and we've been waiting on this one right here to have a baby for a couple of weeks. And at this point, I'm convinced it's probably not gonna happen. We need to get like an ultrasound machine so we can preg check them, but we don't have one. So we really thought that she was pregnant, but now the time for her to have a baby is kind of like come and gone. So we're not real sure if she's going to or not. So we might have to end up taking her to the vet to get preg checked, because that would affect whether or not we send her to Oklahoma City to my dad's place to get bred. We're gonna send all of our baby dolls and our baby doll ram, little George. Hopefully it's not too windy. It's pretty windy out here today. We're gonna send all the baby dolls to Oklahoma City. We're gonna do it this week, but both of my parents came down with COVID this week. So prayers for them are appreciated. They seem like they're doing okay, but it's not fun. So they are recovering, and as soon as they get recovered, we will send our baby doll sheep to Oklahoma City, and then my dad's gonna bring all his Harlequins here. So we're kind of dividing and conquering. So we'll have the Harlequins here, baby dolls there. That was gonna happen, but that got pushed off just a little bit. So we're just kind of watching them all to see what's gonna happen. But at this point, I think we're probably just gonna go ahead and send her with George to get bred, because she doesn't seem like she is. The trusty Mickey Mouse scoop here. Let's come see Paul and George. Let me make sure they're in good shape leading up to breeding season, because got a lot of work to do. Hey buddy, come on. Paul was just here and I don't know where he went. So this little guy is George. We got George from somebody in Missouri, and he is super small. He's like one of the smallest baby doll rams that I have seen, which is good because they are a miniature breed and you want them to be small. So even if we have, you know, some of our baby doll ewes that were a little bit bigger, then hopefully his genetics will bring them down to size. You don't want them to be dwarfed, which is like a bad trait, but you do want them to be small. You want them to be miniature. So hopefully his genetics pass on and he throws some good little lambs. He's got a really good structure and everything about him. So we were fortunate to find him. Baby dolls are pretty hard to find. They're just kind of they're not really rare. They're just kind of one of those breeds that you have to kind of luck into finding them for sale sometimes. Well, I don't know where Paul is, and I don't feel good, so we're moving on. I'm gonna take you guys up to the chicken barn and show you some new chickens that Rachel got. I think Jet got, I don't know. They're somebody's chickens. I can't really keep up with the chicken thing. Chickens are definitely not my specialty here on the farm. They're something that's really good for the kids because they're easy, they're relatively cheap, and they can kind of like ADD out and switch from one to the other pretty quickly. So got some new chickens. Let's go check those out. Okay, so this is our chicken barn. It wasn't supposed to be a chicken barn. It was supposed to be like a storage barn shed, and Zeke kind of took over the space with his chicken stuff. So these are our new birds. They are Millie Fleurs. And you can see this one is molting, so he's missing his tail feathers. But they are pretty unique birds. They are very spunky. They have feathered feet, like a Silkie. And I don't know what's going on with this food situation here. Kai is definitely gonna have to do something about this and the water, but deal with that later. These over here are some little Silkie roosters, which are in need of a new home. And these are two little Silkie chicks that we hatched a few weeks back. This one's getting like a nice little poof on his head. It's interesting. Almost looks frizzled. You got chickens coming out of her ears sometimes. Anyway, so these Millie Fleurs, they're really small. Like a really small breed. And Rachel saw them at the chicken show we went to, and she really liked them. So she got some, I think they're Jets. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see if we can hatch them out in the next couple of months of these little guys. Millie Fleur means millions of flowers. I think it's French. And they have little black pattern on them, and that's what that means. So that's the new chickens. We'll go check out the goats. We actually sold a couple goats this week. We got rid of a couple of our little bucklings. We had 4 bucklings born here this year, and we obviously don't need all those. We talked about that last week. I wanted to keep one to be a future breeder, and then it's always nice to have a backup. So we're gonna keep 2 of them, and the other 2 we sold to a guy in Texas. And then our little doeling, the youngest girl that we had born, she's been having some scours, so I actually need to try to catch her and see if she's doing okay, if she needs antibiotics. She gets out a lot, so sometimes she gets out and goes and gets into the dog food. So I need to check her and see what is causing those scours to happen. But again, I don't feel very good, so I don't know how much energy I'm gonna have to do all that. So we'll see. But we'll go feed the goats real fast, and then we'll see what we can get into. So last week on Friday's video, I tried the cayenne pepper in the food for our Silkies, and they're still not laying any eggs. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the weather changes or something, but they are not laying. They are just being chickens, which isn't helping our breeding program any. Why aren't you laying eggs? Huh? Why aren't you laying eggs? You need to lay an egg. Or you should lay an egg. I don't know if you're a rooster or a hen, so I don't know if you can lay an egg. I know you're a rooster. You can't lay eggs. Really don't know what we have in here, to be honest. I don't know what this black guy is. Maybe a hen. I mean, theoretically, we should have all hens and a rooster, but I don't really know what the boys' chicken system is right now, so got some chickens in here, but I don't know what they are. What do you think? Why aren't you laying eggs? Hmm? Hmm? What about you, Mike Ross? What's your problem? I don't know if he can see anything. We're back here, and the little guys are coming in. You just have to move all the way out of their way. You can see they're kind of starting to creep in here, and this is Ivory. She's like the leader of the pack. So Ivory she's a 1.5 years old now, and she actually got bred last year, and then she had a miscarriage It was kind of like a late term miscarriage. But hopefully this year she can get bred and have a good baby, because she's got really good little horns, little ridges on her horns, all that kind of stuff. We don't usually like to breed the Ibex in their first year. They can. They mature sexually pretty early, but it's just pretty taxing on their bodies to breed them early. With sheep, a lot of people will go ahead and breed them at the first chance that they can. It actually kind of sounds horrible, but it kind of stunts their growth, which isn't a bad thing whenever you're looking for miniature breeds. This is the little girl here that we've been trying to watch. And it looks like, I think she's okay. So farm life doesn't stop for anything. It doesn't stop for weather. It doesn't stop because you're busy. It doesn't stop because you don't feel good. And so despite not feeling great, I had to get out here and feed all the animals and check everything. We learned this year with parasites that if you suspect one of your animals has a parasite problem, you've got to deal with it immediately. We lost a couple little lambs this year, and we lost a couple of our full-blood Ibex last year to barber pole worms and coccidiosis and things like that. So at the first sign of trouble, we now know you've got to be proactive. You've got to be quick on the trigger to treat them. So every time I come out, I try to catch the goats and the sheep and check their eyelids, make sure that there's a lot of red in there. Whenever they have parasites, what it does is it basically robs, you know, them of nutrition, and they become anemic, which is why they die. So if you pull down their eyelids and it's very pale, then that means that they have a parasite load. It doesn't tell you what kind of parasites. There are a lot of different things that it could be, but it does tell you that they are in distress or in trouble, and so it kind of gives you a starting point. So got the little girl doctored up, gave her a shot of Dectomax, and gave her some ivermectin just to kind of broad treat whatever she's got going on. Usually I would have taken her temperature and see if we need to give antibiotics, things like that, but I'm not feeling up to playing veterinarian all the way today. So hopefully that starts solving it. I'll check her again tomorrow and Sunday and see what she has going on. Hopefully by then I'm feeling better also. Last week we talked about our plan for our future breeding program of our Ibex and how we're going to use Rosie's, one of Rosie's babies, one of her little bucks in the future. But we actually had 4 bucks born last year, bucklings, and so we were able to get rid of a couple of them. So 2 of them actually moved to Texas this week. So I wanted to kind of walk you guys through that process, because we have been on the receiving end of animals that were not shipped properly, that were not prepared properly. We've had some die in transit, and we've had some die shortly after transit. And we would never want to put somebody in that position if possible. So there's a couple things that you can do before shipping or while shipping animals to make that process a little smoother and safer for the animals and prevent something called shipping fever. So I'm gonna send you guys over to that video, which was from Monday, and we'll be back here in just a second. Hey guys, it is Monday. I know, you're watching Farm Friday, but it's Monday. And the reason I'm filming on Monday is because I got a guy coming tomorrow to buy a few goats. So before the guy buys the goats, gotta catch the goats. Catching goats is always somewhat of a rodeo. And by goats, I mean Ibex. Step 1, close the gate. All right, so you can see these guys. See how skittish they are? I was telling you guys last Friday how skittish they are. So I'm gonna catch one of these guys. See if you can watch through this fence right here. You okay? You okay? I got this one. And here's number 2. Got. We've got these 2 little guys. Somebody contacted us on Facebook. We've actually got quite a few inquiries this week, and this person was the first person to show up with the money. So they're driving up from Texas, and they're going to take 2 of our little billies, little bucklings home. And before they go, we want to make sure they're healthy. We have been on the negative receiving end of someone who sent animals that were not ready for shipping, and we've had some die en route. We've had some die shortly after we got them, and we don't want to be one of those people. We want to make sure and take care of our customers. So we're going to do a couple things before they travel. There's a thing called shipping fever that animals can get. They get stressed, obviously, when they travel, especially if they haven't, had a whole lot of contact with people. It's just a stressful process for them. So shipping fever can happen, and we're going to do some things that we learned from a really experienced exotic breeder and what he did whenever he shipped them to us. So we're gonna do the same thing. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna give them just a little dose of ivermectin. We get our dosages off of Lanessa Farms. If you don't know Lanessa Farms, I don't know them personally, but they are very informative. I'm actually gonna link them up here and in the description below, because Lanessa Farms, the guy there is like a professor of goat and sheep knowledge. So thank you to them. I know I don't know you, but I really appreciate you. But they've got charts, so make sure you go check out their charts. Goats burn hot, is what I call it. They have a pretty active digestive system. So if you give them the same dose as listed for sheep, it's usually not the right dosage. Usually you have to almost double that dosage. So we're going to give them 4 cc's of ivermectin. We're also going to give them just a small shot of antibiotics, just to make sure that if something does start to happen, usually, like a pneumonia type thing can happen whenever they get stressed. So we're going to give them a small shot of plicomycin, LA200. Sorry, I had a bug in my arm. We're also going to give them some of this Power Punch. You guys have seen us talk about Power Punch before. We had a goat that was dying of coccidiosis, and so while treating him with coccidiosis, we also treated this Power Punch. Got that tip from Kevin over at Hidden Heights. So Power Punch is a lifesaver, literally. We're gonna go ahead and give it to them just because it kind of infuses them with some vitamins and minerals that they need. That way we make sure and send them healthy animals. So we're gonna give those 3 things to these little guys, make sure they have lots of feed, hay, and water so that they are in good shape before they go. I'm gonna crawl in the trailer, which again, can sometimes be a rodeo. Catching them wasn't too hard today, but there are times when I have chased these things around for hours. So we always try to catch them the night before just to make sure we have them ready to go. There's nothing worse than a buyer showing up and then you're chasing goats around for the next couple of hours. So courtesy to people, if you are selling animals, do your homework, do some work beforehand so it's a good exchange, good experience for everybody. So I'm gonna put this camera over here. I'm gonna crawl in, see if we can catch these guys. Also, I'm gonna trim their hooves. These little guys haven't had their hooves trimmed, and again, just wanna send them in good shape. So we're gonna do all of those things before we send them to Texas. Come on. You're okay. You're okay. I'm gonna check his eyelids. They look pretty good. They don't have any parasites. Go 4 cc's ivermectin. Nothing to it. Sweaty, dirty, but we're sending them to a new home in good shape. Alright, so that's all I've got for you guys today. Again, I apologize for not being 100%. Hopefully it's nothing serious with me, and hopefully it's nothing serious with the little girl I had to doctor up today. But hopefully next Friday everybody will be back to 100%, and we will see you guys in between now and then with a couple videos we've got coming out this week. Be sure to like, subscribe, and make sure you comment on these videos so that we know you're watching and we can get to know each other. We really appreciate you guys coming along with us on our journey here at Border Valley Ranch.